Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you have been doing the same job for over 14 years. You are good at it. Actually, you are great at it. You have interviewed celebrities, athletes, world champions, Grammy winners, and literally the most famous people on the planet. You have seen things on that stage that would make a normal human being retire immediately. You have somehow survived all of it with your suit pressed and your dignity mostly intact. And then, one day, a completely ordinary person walks up to your microphone, looks you dead in the eyes, and says something so unhinged, so magnificently, gloriously wrong that your brain just stops working for 5 seconds on live national television in front of millions of people. That is Steve Harvey's life, every single episode. And today, we are counting down the most chaotic, most savage, most jaw-dropping moments that have ever happened on Family Feud. These are the moments Steve Harvey will never fully recover from. Let's go! Before we get into the chaos, let us just take a moment to appreciate who Steve Harvey is. Because the fact that this man has survived this show for over a decade deserves a documentary, a monument, possibly a national holiday. Steve Harvey grew up in poverty. He slept in his car during his early comedy career. He hustled for years before anyone gave him a chance. He became a best-selling author, a radio host, a television icon, and one of the most recognized faces in American entertainment. And then somebody handed him a microphone on Family Feud, and his real suffering began. For 14 seasons, Steve Harvey has stood at that podium and listened to answers that should not exist on this planet. He has walked off stage. He has sat on the floor. He has looked directly into a camera and communicated his pain entirely through facial expressions. He has laughed so hard he could not read his cue cards. And then, every single time, he has come back. Because Steve Harvey is built from something the rest of us simply do not have. Today, we celebrate his pain with love. Let us get into it. Steve Harvey asks the question, there is a dead body in your house. The cops are going to blame you. What do you do with it? Now. Already. This is not a normal question for a game show. But Steve Harvey has been doing this long enough to keep a straight face. He has heard everything. He is ready. First up is a woman named Ursula. Ursula is from Texas. And with full Texas energy, Ursula looks Steve Harvey in the eyes and says, "Since I'm from Texas, I'm going to barbecue it." Steve Harvey went completely silent. He stood there. He stared at Ursula. He stared at the audience. And he said, "We got a little Jeffrey Dahmer family sitting over here." Somehow, barbecue was on the board. And then came Mac. Mac's answer, and I cannot tell you exactly what Mac said because this is a family-friendly channel and Mac is not family-friendly, was so vivid, so detailed, and so specifically unhinged that Steve Harvey physically could not stand upright anymore. He nearly fell. He held onto the podium for support. He walked in a circle. He screamed. He laughed so hard tears were forming. The audience was completely gone. Mac did not come to Family Feud to play a game. Mac came to leave a legacy. And he absolutely did. Celebrity Family Feud. Flavor Flav versus Bobby Lee. Already a combination of human beings that should not legally exist in the same room. And then Steve Harvey asks the fast money question. At what age did you first French kiss? Now most people would say 14, 16, maybe 13 if they grew up fast. Flavor Flav. A man who has made an entire career out of doing unexpected things. Looks at Steve Harvey and says, 6 years old. 6. Steve Harvey did not laugh immediately. He processed. He took a breath. And then he said what with the calm energy of a man who has completely given up on humanity, someone is going to prison. Not, wow, that's surprising. Not interesting answer. Someone is going to prison. The audience erupted. Flavor Flav stood there looking completely unbothered. Like 6 was not just his answer, but a fond memory he was happy to share with America. Flavor Flav has no off switch. He never has. And Steve Harvey has to deal with that on live television.
At what age did you first French kiss?
6 years old.
July 2024. Celebrity Family Feud. Megan Thee Stallion walks onto that stage wearing a body-hugging red leather outfit with the energy of someone who has absolutely nothing to prove and everything to demonstrate. Steve Harvey asks the fast money question. Name something that might be curvy. Now the expected answers. A road, a river, a banana. Things that are curved. Physical, geographical, fruit-related things. That is what the survey expects. Megan Thee Stallion steps up to the microphone and says, without hesitation, without shame, without a single moment of self-doubt, me. Ooh, a body. Steve Harvey's eyes went wide. He clapped. He closed his eyes like he was saying a prayer. He murmured, quietly but clearly, I'm sorry. Not to the audience, not to the producers, to God. He apologized to God for what just happened. And then, because Megan Thee Stallion does not do things halfway, she turned around to give the audience a full 360 view of what she was referring to. The audience lost its mind completely. And then the board revealed that her answer, a body, was the number one answer. 48 points. She was right. She was entirely, completely right. Steve Harvey was speechless. And for Steve Harvey, a man whose entire job is to talk, that is truly the highest achievement any contestant has ever reached. Now this one. This one is a different category of uncomfortable. A delicious, hilarious, absolutely golden category of uncomfortable.
Something that might be curvy.
Megan Thee Stallion.
You said, yes, Lord. Survey said.
Celebrity Family Feud. Anthony Anderson's family versus Robin Thicke's family. Steve Harvey asks the question. We asked 100 women, what TV host, past or present, have you had romantic fantasies about? A woman on Robin Thicke's team named Ava buzzes in immediately, full confidence. She opens her mouth. She says, Steve Harvey. And then, approximately 1/4 of a second later, she covers her own mouth with both hands because she has just realized what she has done. She has confessed a crush on Steve Harvey to Steve Harvey directly on national television. Steve Harvey, to his credit, handled it perfectly. He pointed at her and said, watch yourself, little girl, watch yourself. Robin Thicke turned to Ava and said, I cannot take you anywhere. But the greatest part? The absolute masterpiece ending? When Steve Harvey read out the answer like Steve Harvey. It was the number one answer on the board. 100 women, when asked which TV host they had romantic fantasies about, chose the man who was standing right there holding the microphone. He won his own game show question about himself by accident. Steve Harvey looked at the ceiling for a very long time after that. We are going back to Megan Thee Stallion because that woman gave us 2 legendary moments in the same episode, and it would be a crime not to cover both. Earlier in the same Fast Money round, Steve Harvey asked, when taking a quick shower, how many minutes is it? The key word here is quick. A quick shower, 5 minutes, maybe 7. That is the entire premise of the question. Megan Thee Stallion answered, an hour. An hour. A 60-minute shower, which is not a shower, that is a bath with extra steps and a standing option, is Megan Thee Stallion's definition of quick. Steve Harvey stared at her. The audience laughed, and Steve Harvey, a man who showers in a reasonable amount of time like a normal person, looked like someone had just told him that water is actually dry. An hour, he repeated, just to make sure he heard correctly. An hour. Quick, sure. Megan shrugged, unbothered, completely unbothered. And honestly, we respect it. And that is why Steve Harvey is genuinely one of the greatest television hosts who has ever lived. Not because he is perfect, not because he never cracks, but because he cracks in the most beautifully human way possible every single time. And then comes right back. He has heard a Texas woman suggest barbecuing a dead body. He has heard Flavor Flav casually mention a first kiss at age 6. He has had Megan Thee Stallion describe herself as the curviest thing in the room and be completely correct about it. He has had a woman confess a crush on him to his face, and then watched himself become the number one survey answer. And through all of it, Steve Harvey has done the one thing that makes him irreplaceable. He has laughed. He has let himself be human. He has never pretended that any of this was normal, because none of it is normal. And that honesty, that genuine, unscripted, real human reaction is what keeps millions of people coming back episode after episode, year after year. Steve Harvey did not sign up for therapy. He signed up to host a game show, but somehow he has become the most relatable man on television, and we love him for every single second of it.